Nipsey Russell quotes, "Comedy is based partially on mean spiritedness." Nipsey Russell was an interesting guy because I remember growing up back in the day, he was on all these TV shows and he was always like the center man and he had these one liners. He had like these styles of rap he would do, And he had a crossover appeal without really he was an interesting anomaly because he was comedian, dancer, entertainer. And no one really ever questioned his appearance. It just saw, sometimes I ain't gonna lie. I used to watch Fat Albert and the Gang, and I got him mixed up with Rudy. Remember Fat Albert and the Gang? Where Rudy had that afro with the jeans and the white shirt, and the fro was kind of puffed out. And I always thought they were like the same person. It was funny because but he always had these funny lines, and he had a real type of stoic vibe. And in a way, he could have been like Chris Rock's uncle. If Chris Rock had done strictly TV and toned his language, he probably would have been like Nipsey Russell maybe. But Nipsey Russell was cool in his settings, and he did the Wiz, which I always remember with Michael Jackson, Donna Ross, Richard Pryor, and played a Tin Man. So he had roles, he did stuff, and he always seemed like he looked like the same forever and a day. But anyway, what did I think about his quote? Comedy is based partially on mean spiritedness. It's true. It's the ultimate snark. It's the ultimate rejection. It's the ultimate tears. It's the ultimate madness. It's the ultimate just frustration. But yet, if you can tell it and you can do it in a way that it sounds funny and yet it's cold but funny, you look like a genius. You got to understand how to the punchline and to do it. You can that's like if you told somebody his mama jokes. You say it in such a way that your mama so wide she splits the Grand Canyon when she walks. You say something like that, but he would rhyme. He had a real interesting rhyme scheme. I watched him on Match Game. He always was like on all these shows, and it paid. But he said there was no money in TV, but it was good promotion because he would go hit the stage. But he had it's kind of like the comedian George Wallace that's out now. That's like a precursor. Even though George Wallace gets a bit more blue, I never heard Nipsey Russell say anything that I would say that he couldn't have performed. But he always found himself front and center in a lot of places. He had a real interesting popularity, to say the least. So, um, and you remember those sort of things, how they projected, how they were. So, uh, it's uh, it's very telling when I watched him, but he was right. Most comedians they have a certain type of edge. They come certain insecurity, certain type of trepidation, and they went through a lot. You have to be, because remember you're telling the joke, and people will make your joke. They can be really mean and hard to you. So he really found a way to make a happy balance of it all. But yeah, I have a great memory of watching that man and how he uh, put things in perspective. So uh, I remember, like I said, growing up, he was like on all these different programs. Sometimes you think, was he the token? But then he didn't come across like he was like that. He came across like he was cool, because he did do the roast. He was part of the DMAR, so he obviously had the goods. But I just remember it just like yesterday, the thing with Nipsey Russell. But that was a true story. It is partially based on the mean spiritedness, and some of the ones that best tell it can be very biting and cold. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for another. Share it if you like. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke, stay free. I'm my one time. Peace.